I had spent the week in Denver visiting my brother. I live in Kansas, so driving back already felt like a long, empty trip. On my last day there, an old friend named Mark replied to my Instagram story asking when I was leaving. I told him, today. He said he was living now in a small town along my route home, about 40 minutes off the highway. I hadn't seen Mark since college, and the idea of catching up on my way back seemed harmless enough. He insisted, "Come by for a bit, man." So I said, "Sure, why not?" I put his address in the GPS. 1 hour and 10 minutes. Mark and I used to be close in college, but after graduation we drifted apart. We still followed each other online, but barely spoke. When I arrived, his house looked like something out of an older era. Not abandoned, not falling apart, but aged. The wooden porch creaked under my steps, almost like it protested every footstep. When he opened the door, there was a smell inside. Old wood, humidity, and a faint metallic scent, like a cabin that had been shut for too long. Mark was overly happy to see me, pulled me inside, laughing like nothing had changed. But the interior looked even older. Yellow lamps, worn-out carpet, peeling wallpaper, and furniture straight out of the 1970s. It felt cozy and unsettling at the same time. We sat in the living room drinking beer and talking about life. It was around 4:30 p.m. One beer turned into another, and soon I was far too buzzed to be driving anywhere. Time went by quickly, and of course he eventually said exactly what I expected. "Dude, you shouldn't drive tonight. Just sleep here." He was right, and I was definitely not sober. I asked if I could sleep on the couch. He said, "Nah, I've got a spare room. It's nothing fancy, but better than the couch." We ate something he heated up in the microwave, and then he walked me down a narrow hallway to the guest room. I was drunk and barely looked at anything, but I remember how still the air felt, like no one had set foot in that room for months. I fell into the bed and passed out almost instantly. I woke up in the middle of the night with my mouth dry, head heavy, and the room dark except for a sliver of streetlight coming through the blinds. And that's when I saw it. In the corner of the room, near the door, there was something leaning against the wall, a tall, narrow object. At first, I thought it was an old mirror, one of those with a dark wooden frame. But I didn't remember seeing any mirror when I entered the room. When I stared at it, the glass didn't reflect anything. It looked completely black, like I was staring into a void. I blinked a few times. Maybe it was just my drunk vision. I turned on my side, trying to ignore it, but something felt wrong. I looked again. Inside that black glass, there seemed to be movement, like a faint shape shifting deep behind the darkness. A face, almost pressed against the inside of the mirror. I froze. My heartbeat was loud enough to hear. I shut my eyes tightly and forced myself to sleep again. I don't know how long I was out before another sound woke me up. A slow, hollow knocking. 3 knocks. Inside the room. I jolted upright. The mirror wasn't in the corner anymore. It was now standing in the middle of the room, directly facing the bed, as if someone had moved it while I slept. My entire body went cold. I scrambled out of bed and stumbled down the hallway to Mark's room. He was asleep, but I shook him hard until he woke up. "The mirror. What is that mirror doing in the guest room?" I asked, panting. He looked confused. What mirror? The tall black mirror. It was in the corner. Then it was in the middle of the room. Someone moved it. Mark's face changed. He sat up slowly. I don't have a mirror in that room, he said. Nobody goes in there, not since my grandmother passed away. We both stood there in the silent hallway. Then he turned on the lights and we walked back to the guest room together. The mirror was gone. The room was empty. But on the wooden floor right in front of the bed, there were long drag marks, fresh scratches, exactly the width of the mirror's base, curved like it had been pulled across the floor toward me during the night. We searched the entire house. Nothing. Nowhere. By sunrise, I grabbed my things and left quickly. Maybe too quickly. During the entire drive home, I kept thinking about that moment. That dark mirror. The shape inside it. The feeling of being watched. If that mirror didn't exist, then what was I staring at? And who or what was staring back at me?